The fourth cyclone to hit Madagascar in a month has damaged houses and crops and raised fears of fresh floods. According to the International Federation of the Red Cross, about 160,000 households have been affected by the severe weather. Cyclone Emnati made landfall late on Tuesday night, bringing heavy rain and high waves. More than 30,000 people were evacuated from the country's southeastern coast before the storm hit. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Timothy James, who's Irwin. In fact, let's take a look at this story first before we talk to Timothy Irwin.
Winds of up to 84 miles per hour slammed into Madagascar on Wednesday as Cyclone Emnati made landfall. In doing so, it became the fourth major storm to hit the Indian Ocean island in 5 weeks. The country is still recovering from the effects of Cyclone Emnati, which struck on February the 5th. It killed 124 people, destroyed or damaged tens of thousands of homes, and displaced around 30,000. Tropical Storm Anna hit on January the 22nd, and last week Storm Dumako killed at least 14. And displaced more than 4,300. Over 30,000 people were evacuated from Emnati's path as a precaution, the government's Office for Risk and Disaster Management said late on Tuesday. As wind speeds slowed to 62 miles per hour later on Wednesday, it was reclassified as a tropical storm. There were no early reports of casualties or damage.
Well, for more on this, we're now joined via Zoom by Timothy James Irwin, who's Chief of Communications for the United Nations Children's Fund in Madagascar. Thank you so much indeed for joining us and welcome to the program. Madagascar, it's either severe drought or severe flooding. It just seems to be at the center of the extreme weather patterns. But this recent waves of cyclones really has done quite a lot of damage.
Well, I think as you were saying in your introduction and as in the video report there, they've now had 4 tropical storms and or cyclones in the past 4 weeks. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced. Many thousands of homes and classrooms and health centers have been destroyed. And there's been very widespread flooding. But as you say, this is at the same time as just a little bit further south, as you head to the very extreme south of the country, they're dealing with severe drought, which has been an issue which has been affecting the area for many, many years. It's causing widespread food insecurity and high levels of malnutrition amongst children. And of course, like many other countries in the world, it's also combating the ongoing COVID pandemic. So yes, unfortunately, Madagascar is a country which is regularly confronting emergency situations and going into a crisis mode.
All right, so as UNICEF, what are you seeing on the ground that you're having to deal with?
Well, I think with this latest Emnati cyclone tropical storm, what we have seen is the advantages of good planning. Again, as you mentioned in the introduction, tens of thousands of people, we estimate around 45,000 people were evacuated from their homes ahead of the cyclone. These were people who were living in very vulnerable situations and very fragile homes and huts and shelters. They went into government buildings to shelter. They stayed there throughout the worst of the storm, and now they're able to return home. And so far, it's quite remarkable, so far the indications are that nobody has died as a result of Emnati. And as you said, there were deaths, unfortunately, as a result of Emnati. But it does show you what planning and prevention and precaution can do in order to save lives and minimize damage.
All right, but you can't keep getting hits like this. 1 or 2 maybe, but once you start doing 4, 5, 6, there's only so much that you can do with the resources available, I guess.
Well, absolutely. But, none of this is within anyone's control. I mean, this is the cyclone season for this country. But, I think what you were suggesting earlier is that the Madagascar is experiencing very extreme weather patterns. And I think we have to put that down to the effects of climate change. This is a very, very low emitter of CO2 gases. So what you're seeing is Madagascar suffering the results of a problem which it really has not caused. And I think there are many people here who feel very frustrated that some of the most vulnerable people in the world, those living in very fragile shelters on the coast of the southeast of the country, are the ones who are suffering the results of the effects of climate change.
What are your concerns for the children? I would imagine where there is flooding and displacement, there's issues of waterborne diseases and other health challenges.
That's exactly right. And so, as we did with Batsarai, we will now do with Emnati, which is the provision of safe water. As you say, we want to avoid waterborne diseases. So making sure that people are drinking water that is not going to make them sick, that they have access to a latrine, that's crucial, that they have access to medicine and healthcare, that would be number two. And then a little further down the line, I mentioned that many thousands of classrooms have been either damaged or destroyed. We need to repair those. We need to get back to a situation where children can return to school. Rebuilding these very fragile homes will take time, will take money, but it's certainly not an impossible task. Families will rebuild. They're very resilient, used to dealing with these situations in this part of the world. We need to help them get back on their feet, and we need to help children get back to some sense of normality.
All right. What do you want the international community to help you with? What must they do?
I mean, there's always need for more support, of course. I mean, UNICEF is here. We're supporting the government of Madagascar. There are many other UN agencies and non-governmental organizations. They're doing what they can. And, I think as you suggested, how much longer can this go on? How many more crises can the country face? And of course, with every crisis that the country is facing, the government, as well as the UN and other supporting agencies, are stretching themselves to the limit. There is, as you say, only so much that we can do with the resources that we have. So we're trying to do more. In order to do more, we need additional support. I think, it's a bit of a truism in these sort of situations, but it's true when you look at the country which has now faced 4 cyclones, 4 tropical storms in the matter of 4 weeks.
Timothy Irwin, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very, very much indeed. And let's just hope that Madagascar gets some respite from these extreme weather patterns. But thank you for the work that you're doing in Madagascar. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's communications, Chief of Communications, Madagascar, talking to us, representing UNICEF, talking to us about the challenges that Madagascar is facing with the 4th cyclone in just weeks, displacing tens of thousands of people. Well,